Glory to the Lamb of God that was slain. It's another good day to serve the Lord, to give Him praise, and to talk about His faithfulness in the land of the living. Before I continue on today's broadcast, I just want to appreciate all my subscribers. I thank you for your support. Thank you for being there. Thank you for all the comments, all the likes, all the sharing of my videos. I really appreciate you all. I know I couldn't have come this far without you. It's not just enough to talk. It is beautiful to know that while you are talking, people are listening. And that's one difficult thing for people these days. Everybody wants to talk and nobody wants to listen. So when somebody is listening to you, you should appreciate that person. So I appreciate you all for listening to my testimony, for watching my channel. Please continue to share my videos, and if today is your first time of seeing my video, please will really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel, drop a comment for me, and then give me thumbs up. And if this testimony has really been a blessing to you, then don't keep it to yourself. Share it to somebody. It's one way to evangelize. Some people say, I don't know how to evangelize, I don't know scriptures to quote. Well, when you share testimonies like this with others, you are evangelizing. So join this team of evangelists and win a soul for the Lord through this testimony that you're going to hear today. Share it to somebody, please. So in my last testimony, I talked about setting boundaries, fearing God and avoiding scandal. In our work with the opposite sex, we have to be very careful. Some of us say, I don't care, I just know myself, I trust myself, whatever they want to say, let them say. Yes, people will still talk no matter what you try, people will still talk no matter what you do or how you try to do it, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You have to put all the boundaries in place. Don't take chances. The devil is very trickish. It's even more painful when you are actually innocent and then you are being accused. When you are accused and when it's for real and then the scandal goes out, at least you know that you really did it. But when you didn't do it and then the scandal goes out, it's more painful, to be suffering innocently. But there are many ways we can avoid it. We know that the devil will still try and fight, but we have to play our part by avoiding it first of all. You understand what I'm saying? You don't play your hands into sin. The Bible says make no room for the devil, so you don't make room for the devil. You have to be very careful. Alright, so that's for that. If you have not seen that video, please watch it to see what exactly I'm talking about, and I'm sure that you'll be blessed by it. And if you are blessed by it, share it also with somebody. So today I'm just going to talk about, you know what they say about kissing so many frogs before you finally meet your Prince Charming? Yes, I kissed so many frogs also, and there was this one particular frog that I still can't believe I kissed anyway. You know what I'm saying? There was one, I went to a wedding and I met somebody. He was tall, handsome, good looking, and then I went for that wedding without really expecting anything. Just wanted to grace a friend's wedding, you understand? And then suddenly I noticed that somebody was calling me. I looked back and he said I should come. And then I went to meet him thinking maybe, I wasn't even thinking he wanted to ask me out. And then he said he liked me and couldn't help as I came to the back to call me. And he wanted to be a friend. I said, okay. And I said, the first thing that we do then to scare people off is to invite them to church. So even though the wedding was in the church and it was a Christian sister, a Christian brother's wedding, you can't still be sure of the people that are coming, if they are all Christians or they are born again for real. So sometimes when we want to wake people off, we scare them with, well, you want to see me? Come to my church, you understand? So I told him, come to the church, and he said, okay, you will come. Where's the church? I gave him the address and he came to church the very next Sunday. And when he came, he said he likes the church, he likes the church. Which church do you attend? And he told me the name of his church. I don't even want to mention the name of the church for integrity's sake. It was a very popular church. And so we started getting to know each other, and I discovered that he was so shallow. You know, some people can be so good looking and so presentable, and then, but when you go too close to them, you discover how shallow they are, how immature they are, how they just think they are born again, and yet they don't know anything about the scripture. They don't know anything about the word of God. They're just churchgoers, like churchgoers, you understand what I mean? He was attending a church, and then his life did not show it. He had this mindset. I don't know whether it's from his training or it's just him, whether it's from the church training or something, it's just him. You know, sometimes when some people behave, you want to fault it to their church or to their pastor, but most of the time the pastors are doing a very good job. The people are the ones not, you know, following. This is somebody that claims to be born again, but as he's not in good terms with his stepbrothers. Yes, you know, we have some family that's, you know, relating to step siblings is always difficult, but as a Christian, the difference has to be clear. You know, understand? It's to the point that he will tell me that when I visit, I cannot greet any of the stepbrothers, any of the stepsisters. You understand? And then it's somebody that calls himself a Christian. He will still complain, and you let him. It will just show his unforgiving spirit will just be showing as he's talking about them. You understand? And that shouldn't be a part of us as Christians. And that wasn't really such a big problem, because we would have been able to work on that, you understand? Except that he also did not see anything wrong with sleeping around before marriage. He didn't see anything wrong with sleeping around before marriage, and he still didn't understand why his life was like that. From the very beginning, I said he's been through so many relationships that didn't work, blah, 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 blah. And I discovered that it's this sleeping around thing that affected him. He didn't say anything wrong with sleeping around. When I went to go to his house, he makes move at me. I had to stop going to his house, you understand? And then I discovered that he was also very shallow. You know, sometimes, you know, education is very good, but some people, when they are not educated, the way they reason is so low. He's not educated, but I didn't want to take that as a reason for saying no. So I told him, I say, you know, sometimes when you're very educated and then you are rejecting some people, some people think you are very selective, but then some people, their level of illiteracy is just too much that you can't even cope with it. And I don't think you should cope with it if you really cannot cope with it. You understand? This one was just too much. I can't even begin to explain. It was just too much, too bad. And then he had this belief that for everything you need from God, you just go for deliverance and you get it. And I'm like, what's that? Okay, for example, I was saying I wanted to get a lecturing job after my, you know, so I started my master's because of my, so it would be easier for me to get my lecturing job. And he said, come to my church. If you come to my church, they'll just do deliverance for you, 7 days deliverance or 1 week deliverance. How do they call it? 3 days deliverance, whatever deliverance, days of deliverance, that you just get that job. And I'm like, is it deliverance that you need to get a job? You understand what I'm saying? So shallow. And so I was like, what kind of training is that? So you need deliverance, I mean, you need anything from God, you go for deliverance and you get it. That's not my training. That's not what I know. That's not what the Bible says. And then you don't think fornication is wrong. All you need to do is go back for deliverance after fornicating, and then God will forgive you, and then you get what you're looking for. I was like, no, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And then I just told him, please, I can't do this. So I just walked away from him and ended the relationship. I discovered that it's not going to work. And then, you know, being a Christian, there's a level you get to. You can't just start a relationship without working hand in hand with your pastor. Yes, you have to know what you want and get what you want, but there's need to seek counsel from your pastor. You understand? For guidance, for him to confirm what you have heard from God. If really you heard from God, that is where you really know whether you heard from God or not. You know, sometimes we claim that we heard from God, and then it was probably just our flesh or ourselves or what we really want from God that we're just pushing in front of God. So there's need to seek counsel from your pastor when it comes to relationship before you even go ahead with that relationship. And when I sought counsel with my pastor over him too, my pastor was just, this is it's not going to work. And then it just confirmed what I already saw, that it's not going to work. So I just left him. So one time he lost somebody. Was it his father also, his mother? I can't remember. I think it was his mother he lost. And then he came to my house suddenly after a very long time that I walked away from me and told him no. He just came and then he said he lost his father. He didn't make me, I think, dropped a message for my mother. He said he lost his father. And out of that pity, I just said, well, what do I do? Let me visit him, you know, at least attend the burial and everything. So I visited him and he wanted to use the opportunity to come back, you know, play back through pity. And then because of his loss, I was actually really pitying him. But I realized that love does not work with pity. You can't pity somebody and marry that person. You can't live on pity. You can't. It's not what you can do. So I started something off with him again, but based on that pity. And then all through that mourning period and then the burial period, I was with him, helping him out, trying to console him and all that. But even all through then, I still discovered that it's not going to work. So I just had to leave the pity party and tell him, please, don't just use pity to blackmail me to stay. It's not going to work. This is not going to work. Just move on with your life and let me move on. And that was how I broke that one. Very short and quick, because the sign was obvious that it's not going to work. So do I have time to tell you how I met my husband today? Yes, I'll tell you how I met my husband today. Alright, so after my youth pastor's wedding, you know, things were never the same again. It's normal. Yes, it's normal. When you are friends with the opposite sex, even when you are friends with when two people of the same sex are friends and then one gets married, things can never be the same again. Be it a male or a female, things can never be the same again, because the marriage issue will come in. You know, the wife or the husband thing will come in, and then you're not going to have that part of no matter how close people were before, it's not going to be the same again with a wife around or with a husband around. And then if it's the opposite sex, it's even worse, because you're going to have jealousy problem. The wife is probably going to get jealous or one thing or the other, or suspicious, you understand? So you have to be very careful. Now, it wasn't a different case with this particular issue my youth pastor that I was telling you about. After marriage, things were no more the same again. So I had to be very careful. I had to be very, very careful. And then my pastor, having noticed my service in church and everything, called me and said they will send me, the church wants to send me for a training on video editing. Let me go for a training, so I'll be working with the editing unit of the church. I'm not more being in the youth pastor's office as, you know, personal assistant and all that, but I can still be helping out in the youth office and in the youth department as usual. But I'll be moved to the media office. So I went for that training. It was a wonderful training, and the skill was very helpful. Yes, it was very helpful. I remember I even taught somebody from what I learned in that training, and the person is living on it today, up to date. The person is doing very well with it. Even I that thought the person can't even remember much about it really, because I didn't really practice after the whole thing. I did for a very short time, and then the work stopped. I'll tell you how the work stopped. First of all, let me tell you, I met my husband. I was just on my phone one day and somebody sent me a friend request on Facebook, and I opened it, and it was this, my glorious and lovely husband. I didn't know him then. I was like, and I do one thing, I don't accept people I don't know on Facebook. If I accept you, it's because I know somebody that know you understand? But if I don't know you and I don't know anybody that know you, I hardly accept. I hardly. Those days I was even straighter. Now I'm free. I'm a little freer now. But in those days, hush, I was so strict. If I don't know you, I don't accept you on my Facebook. Because when I saw his request, I looked through, I didn't recognize him, I didn't know him in any way. I was like, and I replied, I said, I don't know you, why are you sending me a request? Why do you want to be my friend? That was what I said. Sometimes you still use that to laugh at me today, saying, somebody that I sent a friend request. So, why do you want to be my friend? That was the first thing she told me. Why do you want to be my friend? You know? we still laugh about that in dates. So I saw a friend request and I was like, I don't know this man. What was he looking for? He was wearing this suit, looking like, I was like, I just looked at this picture. I didn't recognize him one way. So I said, why do you want to be my friend? And he replied that, well, he used to be a member of the church, and then traveled out, and he just felt like looking through. He saw he saw the Facebook of his former church in Nigeria. He saw it on Facebook. I said, my church in Nigeria, they're on Facebook now. And he decided to just look through, and while he was looking through, he got to look through the people, the friend list, the people on the list that are members of the group. And then that was how he got to see me, and he was like, I know this face. I've seen this face before. Oh, it's been a very long time. And then he said he didn't say what he was admiring. He didn't say he was admiring. It's only later that I knew he was admiring. Wow, this sister is not very beautiful. Wow, is this sister I used to know about that? So Isha said, well, wow, if she didn't want me to send her a request and find out if she's the one or that. So that's why he sent me a request. And I was like, so you're a member of the, you used to be a member of the church. He said, yes, he traveled out now for like how many years? A very long time now. Very long time, I can't remember the years, but he's been away for a very long time. So he started talking about the things that would make me know he was really a church member, the things, how he was, what he did, the way he served, the group he belonged to, his group leader, where he served and everything. And I knew all these people. Even my elder brother when he was youth pastor and all that. So from what he talked, I knew that he's somebody that actually knew me and somebody that's actually really been in my church. So I said, well, okay, based on that, at least a church member from afar is okay, I can accept. So I accepted his request. That was how play started. That was how play started, and we got talking, and he said, can I have your number, can I call you, and all that. I said, well, it's your credits, I don't mind. I definitely cannot call that far because it's too much money, you understand? So if you want to call, no problem, you can call. So he got my number, and then he started calling, and we just got talking. First of all, he wanted to first of all, he was like, you look so much like a model. Not that I'm so fat. Then I really look like a model. It's very slim and good, you know, because all the childbearing and all the enjoyment of the wonderful motherhood and then married life. I've added weight, but I used to be very tiny then. Tinier than money of Nigeria. So he was like, would you like to go into modeling? And he wasn't the first person that told me about modeling. Even when I was in Uniben, actually my final year, my roommates, there was one of these, my roommate that used to trouble me about modeling. Sister Grace, you should model. You would do well as a model. Even when I was in the UK, the lady, those that have watched my video on my life in the UK, I think it's blessed to be a blessing. I talked about that. You can check that video out. The man of the woman I stayed with, the husband of the woman I stayed with, used to tell me, you will do well in modeling. If you go into modeling, you will sell, you will buy, you know, you will do well. And then the wife will say, please stop selling, don't put ideas into our mind. Don't put ideas into our mind. They didn't know that I was not interested in anything modeling, because then I used to see modeling as one place that you go naked and you show your body and all that. And as a Spiro sister, you know, I cannot do things like that. So even when the man was saying that, and the woman is like, don't put ideas into her head, I was like, who is even interested in modeling? I know what modeling is about. So even when I was in my final year, this my roommate used to disturb me. Modeling will fit you. See your stomach so flat. So the stomach now that has produced children is not as flat as that anymore. So flat. See your body. Oh my God, modeling will suit you. You know, she pushed me at the time. I even went to drop my pictures in the modeling industry that came to Uniben then. And then when they saw it, they really said, oh, this is beautiful. But they now did one thing that drove me further. They said, can you do something that will be more revealing, as in you cover too much, and you just push the clothes down a little? And I said, you see what I was saying? You see what I was saying? This is why I never wanted to go into modeling. So from there, I just ran away. I didn't go again. So when he came here, like, would you like to model? I could arrange for an agency here in Spain to, you know, take you up and all that. I said, please don't just go there. Once it's modeling, it's not my field. I won't model, not for anything. I don't want to model. You understand? Because of that notion I had. So he said, okay, no problem. If you don't want to model, no problem. We can just be friends. So we got talking. And then before he finally pops the question out, that's why it's not just playing, it's not just talking, he would like to marry me. I was like, whoa, I don't even know you. Apart from this talk, I'm just talking here and I don't know you. Yes, he knew me when he was in church then, but I didn't know him. You know, sometimes you could be in the choir, or you could just be doing things in the work in the church. You don't know people that are seeing you. And because you're always at the spotlight, it's easy for people to notice you. You know, you may not notice them. So I didn't know him, but from everything he said, I knew he was really a member and he should know me. Understand? So how do we even start that kind of relationship with somebody that I never knew before? So I had to start praying. And just then, if that same period, there was a day my pastor brought me into church and said, where are the brothers in this church? As if God just said, you are not going to marry from here, you understand? As popular and as dutiful and as busy as I was in church, no brother was bold enough to ask me out. I don't know whether it was intimidation. You know, some guys can be really intimidated with some ladies. I don't know what it was really, but I think it's just God that was just directing my steps. Some of them asked me out, and to the extent that, to the point that my pastor had to bring me out one day in the church. During service, he said, Pastor Grace, come out. He said, you see all these brothers now? Shortly after that one that failed, that came from another church, and my pastor said, no. I can't marry that brother. He said, see Sister Grace is here now. All of you are looking at her. That's that one brother from outside will come now, marry her and take her away. As she's what she is in this, because to say the truth, my pastor did not want me to marry outside the church. I don't blame him. Even as a pastor's wife now, there are people that are so useful to me in church, so helpful, that makes my work easy. Of course, I would not want them to go. I would want them to marry with him. But then God is over all, and then the church of God, the church of God is one. I think the church needs to learn to release their people. You understand? The church of God is one. But it's painful. I quite understand that, you know, to groom somebody from childhood and then somebody just comes from outside, marry the person and go. And when the person is very useful to you in the church and very helpful. My pastor wanted me to be a life partner and wanted, you know, a ministry help partner for life with him, you understand? And so for him, he would have preferred me to marry somebody for inside the church. So one day, so that day, he called me out and was telling everybody, people are looking at Sister Grace now. That's somebody who come from outside and marry and go. People cannot talk. He really teased all the men in the house, the brothers in the house that day. You know, stepping them up. And he even said, I give you people now till 1 month. I want to hear her coming to tell me that people are asking her out. You understand? To that point, what an advertisement. I was shy that day, but I was just laughing, you understand? But in spite of all that, you know, nobody came, but somebody came. Yes, somebody came, an evangelist. And that was after my husband had come. And after my husband had said he wanted to marry me, I started praying about it, you know. I started praying about it because I knew that it would be very difficult for my pastor to accept it after all, you understand? It needed to be very difficult for him to accept it. And this time around, I was working in the media office, you know, editing videos from the church and every other thing, helping out in the media office. I was in the choir and singing body. So one evangelist in the church came to me, and I've known him from teenagers, from when we were teenagers. We served together as teenagers executives. We also served together as youth executives before he was ordained an evangelist in the church. So I've always known him. He's a very good brother, very easygoing, and we're friends also. Yes, we're friends. We've been working together, and he came closer this period and said he wanted to marry me. I knew he wasn't the one. From the moment he said it, I knew it wasn't the one. Then my husband had already asked me out. And I've not even said yes to my husband then. We're still just playing, you understand? I've not said yes to him. But as that evangelist came, it was painful for me to tell him no, because I've known him and I trust him. He's somebody that I can trust, you understand? I haven't known him from childhood, and he has always been on ground. I trusted him. And then financially also, if I were to look at the financial aspect, he was also doing well. Not like he had a house that he inherited, not like it was his own, all that, but at least he was comfortable. That's what I'm trying to say. He was comfortable. So if I wanted to judge or take based on that, I would just take. But it's more than those things, those physical things. There's more about the need to pray about your choices, your choice of a life partner, because this is something that is for life. So you have to be very careful and prayerful to choose. So as he said it, I knew it wasn't the one. Why? Because of what God had already told me, that you are supposed to marry a bishop. An evangelist is not a bishop. So I knew it wasn't the one. So I told him right away that it's not the one. But I said, well, let me still pray about it. I'll pray about it. So I went home to pray about it. I prayed about him, I prayed about my husband, and I prayed about some other persons that were just on the line at that period. I think there were 2 other persons also. And I think I just dropped one of them because that one was just nothing to pray about. Probably because of his faith or no, I can't remember. So I prayed very well that night, and I fasted, and I prayed for some time. And yeah, I set a fast for some time to pray about it. And the very last day of the prayer, I wrote the names of these 3 of them, or was it these 2 of them that I wrote? I think it was 3 of them. I wrote it under my pillow, and I slept on the pillow. I prayed all through the night and then slept. And while in the dream, I discovered that I woke up in that dream. I thought it was even life. I woke up and I picked I removed my pillow and I picked the paper I had to choose. And I said the first one I would choose when I wake up is the one I will marry, you understand? Is the right man for me. And then in that dream I opened the paper and I saw it was my husband's name. And that dream was like, how why him? I've not, I don't really know this one. I don't know him. Even though he says he's a pastor and all that, I don't really know him. But it was him. So in that dream I was like, so I finally woke up from the dream and I said, oh, it's time to pick, time to pick. Oh, so it was just a dream. Thank God it was just a dream. It's time to pick, time to pick. Okay, let me pick. And then when I opened the pillow, I took it and I opened it. It was still my husband's name. So what happened in the realm of the spirit happened again in the physical. And then I knew that there is no running away from this. I just need to marry this man that I've never seen before or known before. I only saw his face on picture on Facebook. So for those of you that are just hearing how I got to know my husband, I knew him through Facebook. I'll continue from here next week. Don't go away. Let me give you the full gist of how it went thereafter. So if you have been blessed with this, please share with somebody. God works in mysterious ways. His wonders to perform. If we just trust and obey Him, He will lead us to green pastures, to still waters. He will restore our soul and make all things beautiful for us. I have no regret marrying a man that I met on Facebook. In short, that is just the beginning. There's more that you will hear later before you hear about the wedding. Don't go away from me. Stay with me on this channel, Grace Channel. Remember, I'm Pastor Grace Donald, and I'm going to give you the story of my life. Gradually, I've been doing that. You get to hear the next one in my next video next week, same time. So till I see you again, keep having a wonderful walk with God, and also walk with God, resulting in testimonies. Bye.